doing?
Great.
I'm built like the God.
Some people will say that you risking getting a screwdriver shoved between your fifth and sixth rib.
I still got the most swag at this firm.
Not since Curtis got here.
Good. What has happened to the guy?
Guilty as charged.
I need to make you. I'm the grandmaster, the authority.
Well, guys, when Vaca Films asked me to, help them curate a list of people in Hollywood that they could sit with, meet, and interview, and find a way of immersing themselves into Hollywood and what is wrong and what's right about Hollywood, and how they could take as much as possible from here to bring back to Brazil, to Brasilia, to the scene, to the whole, audiovisual market. Allen Maldonado was on, the top of my list because I think that he represents, in my opinion, a lot of things that Hollywood should be thinking, right? Because I think that he has a lot of hats, he has a lot of fronts, he has a lot of different ways of approaching the business, right? I think that he's a multi hyphenated kind of artist, entrepreneur, businessman, and visionary. And he's someone that through the years, as we started working on a specific project, I was always really impressed with how he navigated Hollywood, because at the end of the day, it's most of the time it's almost all the time froth. It's froth. It's all fake, and it's a lot of this. And I think that for any Brazilian filmmaker, actor, actress, entrepreneur, anyone who is in the business, who wants to thrive in the business, I think that his life story, but also his approach to the business, the way he thinks, the way he sees himself as a company, is something that it's very special. And I'm so glad you guys are going to be able to watch live the Allen Magic from Hollywood. And so that's it. So I pass the mic to you guys. I hope you guys have a great session. And I wish that in the past, when I was young and I had hair and I was trying to work in this business, I had this kind of sessions to watch and learn from. So it's really good that you guys are doing this, and I hope you guys have a great time.
All right, Alan. So Mauricio is right. When he talks to us about you, when we were reading about you, it's hard to pin down what exactly that you do, because it's this is an actor, producer, screenwriter, director extraordinaire, does a lot of things, wears lots of hats. So help me introduce you to the Brazilian audience. Tell us a bit about you.
I've evolved into an artist. That's what it's kind of come to and rounded out into a nutshell. Being that I've started off in this business pursuing just acting, and acting is an obsession. It's a drug. It is the sun that powers everything in my life. So to start from the beginning is to just express how much I love acting and how that drives pretty much everything in my life. so the love from acting and that obsession drove me to a place where I wanted to do and be able to do whatever I wanted, or be able to act whenever I wanted, rather. So when it was the idea that, being Black and Puerto Rican, nobody really knew what to do with me, rather. Like, nobody knew what to do with me. I began to do with myself. Like, I began to write projects and learn how to write. Shout out to my mentor, may he rest in peace, Michael Caine. He wrote all the right moves for Tom Cruise, which is Tom Cruise's first movie. He did one of the Jaws. He did several movies like in the 70s, and at the age 17, sort of a movie in itself. He finds this kid from the projects and from the hood, and he's like, "Yo, I think you could be an incredible writer." And I'm like, "Well, I hate English, but how does that work?" And he was like, "Well, no, that's structure. What I'm speaking of is creative, and I think you'll be phenomenal." So I took him up on his offer of mentoring me, and we wrote like 2 scripts together. And I just held that in my back pocket. It was still acting what was everything. So acting. I was, getting bit parts here and there, and it felt like I was running in place for 10 years. Like I felt I had the ability and knew and always known I've had this kind of Kobe Bryant mentality as far as my work ethic and my pursuit and my acting abilities and just training and just being the best actor in I could be. I've done the work in that, but I just wasn't seeing any results. It wasn't just talent. I had all the talent, but that wasn't enough in this business. And all of these things started to come into shape when I started to think of the business as a business, and not just the business, me being a business that is associated or within this community of businesses, because that's ultimately when you see your favorite actor, your favorite director, they're a business, and they've built a brand and they've built a history in this industry where people can feel that they can rely and pay them millions of dollars. So how it broke down was, this business is 80% business, 10% talent, 10% politics. Now I separate politics because that's also in business. So ultimately, this business is this game, this pursuit of what we do as artists, is 90% business, 10% talent. And that's why I felt like I wasn't succeeding, because I had the 10%, but that's still an F. That's still an F. I could be, and you've seen so many talented people get discouraged, quit, just beat themselves up because they're like, I know I got the juice. Why nobody want to sip? And it's like, well, you got to package it. You got to put it in the right bottle. You got to market it. You got to also not, and then you got to know who you're selling to, because some people don't want juice. Some people want water. Some people want liquor, and you may be going to the wrong audience. So it was then that I began to really look at myself as a business, and I had to kind of reshape who I am. And yeah, so I began to like, what am I? Now, I was sponsored by Coca-Cola in my early 20s, and I had an opportunity to sit down with one of their top marketing guys. And the way he broke down Coca-Cola, Pepsi, and Mountain Dew was how we have to look at ourselves as talent or as a company, meaning that we're all artists. We're all filmmakers. So that's the soda industry, so to speak. Everybody, we're all selling sodas. We're all selling sodas. So what's the difference? Well, you have to make yourself a difference. You have to build your brand, where people get confused with typecasting and branding, where all of your favorite actors, your blockbuster actors, have a brand. Will Smith, he would overcome the impossible. And that was the common denominator in all. He was a superhero in pretty much all of his movies, whether it was Independence Day to Men in Black to even 7 Pounds, where he was giving his organs away to save people. Like, wow. Like he's so you got, Johnny Depp. His biggest blockbusters are when he's a character actor, and he's big, costumes, Pirates of the Caribbean, Alice in Wonderland. That's a brand. Not to say Alice in Wonderland and Pirates of the Caribbean are 2 different characters. So you're not typecasting yourself, but you're fitting yourself in a way where people can buy you in mass. People can identify you in mass, where it's like, oh, I know what I'm going to get when I go to a Johnny Depp film. I know what I'm going to get when I get to a Will. building a brand. Now, as an artist, it's upon you to be as diverse as you can within that space. So I started to look at myself, what do I want to be? Rather than what does this business, waiting for this business to find or figure out what to do with me. So I was like, well, what are the films that I want to do? What are the projects? Who are the careers that I like? And then combine them and make your own. So ultimately for me, it was like I wanted to be a funny tough guy. That's the Bruce Willis's, that's the Mark Wahlbergs, that's the Rock. Those are funny tough guys. Funny tough guys. That's their brand. Now everybody has a variety of films that they've done and they've showed their range as actors, but ultimately all of their films are funny tough guys. So that was the first. Like, I want to be a funny tough guy. So you gotta, in going back to the Coca-Cola of it all and the sodas of it all, it's like when you see Coca-Cola, it's red and white, and you have these images that you associate with it. There's white polar bears, and then there's Pepsi. Pepsi's the new generation, so that's why they get a lot of rock artists, pop artists, and they promote it in that way. That's their audience. Then you have Mountain Dew, green, yellow, bright colors, and they're just extreme, jumping off of stuff on fire. That's what you're selling with that brand with Mountain Dew. So I bring up Mountain Dew because that's similar to like what a funny tough guy's brand is. Everything is explosive, everything is big, everything is bright. So I began to build all of my marketing material as such. I wasn't waiting for people to figure out what to do with me as an actor. I said, this is what I am. And when you're looking for something and when you want something that I am, here I am. So I'm just blasting out this funny tough guy image. And then also figuring out your demographic, figuring out the projects that are looking for this type of actor, rather than trying to get every role where you get specific targets, where I wasn't just throwing stuff against the wall anymore. I just had particular areas, businesses, companies, people that I wanted to meet with.
And specifically, like, which steps did you take to market yourself as like the funny tough guy? What did you do?
Okay.
Like, did you make a reel? What did
Yes.
you?
Yes. So all of my photos, my headshots, my websites, anytime my Instagram, anytime that you saw me, you saw funny tough guy. That was the message and the image and the story that I was selling you, is that funny tough guy. So all my pictures, I had to get my physique, I had to work out now, and to kind of just bring you the results of it all is I worked out, I put on like 15 pounds of muscle. I really transformed into this brand. And lo and behold, the show that I'm starring on now, I play a pro wrestler. That's not by accident, is what I'm trying to tell you. That's not by accident. This is what I said I was. So when the project and the opportunity came, they didn't have to, they like, oh, he's this. Let's see if he got the goods. And that's
And
what
how long between like when you changed directions uh, did it take
the
to reach?
timeline.
Yeah.
I mean, I mean, that's just a whole deeper conversation as far as time.
Yeah,
But
because how did you know that it was working? That what you set out to do?
and that's what I'm saying. Well, it's hard to give you an answer that is, I won't say honest, but is effective, meaning that this business is no one way to do it. So to put a timeline on yourself or compare your timeline to anyone else, you'll drive yourself crazy. So that's why, I mean, I don't want to give you a timeline, but as far as me making that decision to start building that brand out, that's when it began. Because it's these, and in marketing, you have to see something, I forgot how many thousands of times before you even consider buying it. And then you have to see it even more before you even consider. Then you think about buying it. Then you think about going to the store. Then finally you purchase it. And then if it's great, you're a customer for life. But if it's bad, you may not ever buy that thing again. So in the marketing of it all, I want to get so many eyes. And another key tip for what I did, I didn't really key in on, let's just say, I guess, fans or spectators or customers rather. I focus on the people in the business. So rather than try to get an article in People, I was trying to get an article in the WGA's magazine. I was trying to get into the direct DGA's magazine. I was trying to get to where, again, I figured out my consumer. I know where I want to go. So it was more for the business. And also, I had, going back to my original story, having this writing kind of skill in my back pocket. I began to really see who had, the power in television. Now, writers are, are the kings in television, and directors are king in feature films. That's from my experience and what I've seen. So I was like, well, let's combine my addiction. Like, I want to be an actor. Like, I act for food. I act for free. This is me. Give me a stage. Give me some lines. Give me a monologue and watch me work. Like, that's my addiction. So in combining this writing thing, combining this business sort of approach, I began to really key in on the writers, showrunners, and really getting their attention and getting them to see what I was doing, and began to build relationships in that space. And where we're fast forwarding now, where I have a project with Mauricio, and I've just sold another one to Fox, and I have about 6 other ones in different stages of development. So to give you a timeline, I've been doing this 20 years. Not to say that it's going to take everyone else to take this. It's going to take 20 years, but that's what I'm saying. That's why you can't. I don't ever, because this business. I
No,
always say,
I totally get what you're saying,
yeah,
because I think Octavio and I, we have a production company of our own, like Vaca Filmes, and Vaca Filmes for those who were watching in Brazil. And
yeah,
I think we struggled with the same thing for a long time, because like it's hard to temper down some of your creative expression, because like we had so many different projects going into so many directions. Like we had comedies, and we had like an action historical drama, and we had like a bunch of stuff that when we would present to networks and to streaming companies, like it was hard. Like they were having some trouble, like trying to pin
identify.
down who you were. Yeah, like what are we getting from you? Like what are we like what if I give you this amount of money? What are you giving me back? And it was funny. Like the 3 of us had a meeting with with a big honcho, like in global. It's like the biggest Brazil network, and she was talking to us for like half an hour, and and then at the end of this half hour, she said, "Okay, so I get you guys now. So this one is the neat one, this is the geek one, and this is the crazy one." Like she had to put us in boxes so she could understand us, and that was like a really big lesson for us, and into like as to how we should present ourselves. Like at first, we were kind of pissed off, like I'm much more than a whatever
Yeah,
she,
yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
yeah, I can understand completely what you're saying.
Yeah, man. So when you approach and be specific, that is my biggest advice. Like, we often try to be everything. Like, it's like, oh yeah, I could do it all. But would you rather get somebody that knows how to do a little bit of everything, or you want to find an expert? So it's not to say as an artist that you have to be an expert at one thing. It's just you can't be an expert at everything. Like, give me. I want a strong 10. Give me a strong 10 things that I'm an expert in. Y'all can have the rest. So just know this is what I'm a. I can't. I don't have the bandwidth. Nobody has the bandwidth to be great or an expert at everything. So when you doing business, and you're doing business with millions, like we're not when you're talking movies and television shows, you're talking about episode is. I'm on shows where one episode is 10 to 7 million. That's just a TV show. You know, 40 million, 50 million, $100 million film budgets. Yeah, I need you to. I need an expert. like I want to know who getting is an expert at this because I'm gambling a lot on this person.
And speaking of bandwidth, like how how did you manage to like your time between when you change direction into like I need to focus on myself as a business? Did you feel that you were losing some time that you were dedicating to honing your craft before that, like, and now you had to like spend that time like thinking about yourself as a bit because like in contrast with the Brazilian industry, I think it's all very craft oriented. Like it's very people are very um, they're not very business like business minded.
Hmm.
Everybody like has like an inspiration and whatever, and I think that because it would take some time from dedicating yourself to honing your craft and to learning how to, I don't know, act, screenwrite, or direct if you have to dedicate yourself to,
Yeah,
learn how to
yeah.
be a businessman. How did you find balance in
The balance is sacrifice. Yeah, to be able to do all the things that I'm doing at once simultaneously. Yeah, my personal life has to be sacrificed. Like, you know, probably hit the most. And so like there's no like you can't do it unscathed. Like you can't like that's what I'm trying to I try to explain to people. Like so for me, how I manage that. So how do you manage the sacrifice that it takes to be able to be the business and hopefully like listen, I want every artist to find that one person on this earth that is business minded that y'all could team up and y'all could take over the world. It don't often happens that way. So you have to be the business and the artist sometimes, and that's where it's been for me. I've had to really build this thing as a you know uh self uh I said what a self-made man like that I've had to really do it all myself before anybody believed in me because I started from zero. So that's what I'm saying. Like, that's if you starting from zero, you're gonna have to sacrifice a lot because it's gonna take a lot. But with that being said, how I've learned to manage it is that I just give myself quarters. Like I put together five, really big goals within what I'm doing, whether it's writing, acting, painting, just as an artist, like different things, and I'll give myself 4 months. And I usually do it while I'm filming something because that's usually a more consolidated time for me, being that I'm usually in another state, city, just everything, a whole new program. So 4 months, I'll set a goal, and then after that, I'm taking a month and a half vacation, like resetting and just living life and just trying to balance that way. But there's as far as doing it same simultaneously, it's a sacrifice, no matter how you approach it.
but what kind of sacrifices did you have to
Your
make?
personal life, like relationships, anything outside, it's
And
it's just like yo, like I'm just be, I'll try to be as frank as possible. Like everything outside of work is going to take a hit because this business requires so much of your time and focus because you're operating heavy machinery. You're operating not only a big budget, but you're operating crew, cast, personalities, all of these different things. Um, so to think and to understand that you can do both at the same time, you're gonna stress yourself out. So you got to try to balance that out. Like, look, I'm doing this right now, and this is minor. That's the sacrifice where my focus. That's where for me in finding that balance, I shift my focus where work is number one. Like work is, I got work. That's all I'm doing. That's the priority. And then for a couple of months, I put work as a back seat. Not to say that work isn't going to get done and I'm not handling stuff while I'm on vacation or whatever, but work takes a back seat to my life and my family. And that's what I mean. Your life, your family, that's the hours that it takes as an artist when you have to be be both. Now, if you can say it, if you got that partner that just can be the business and your artist, wow, you can find better balance. But when you have to do it all and be from and work from the different sides of your brain, yeah, it's gonna be a lot.
Yeah, like we can like this is totally relatable to the project we are working on right now that Felipe is directing, and then Octavio and I are producing because Octavio and I are producing. Even Octavio is also co-writing with people with Felipe, and like I am, I absolutely hate being a producer. Like that's not like what I'm here for. But like
That's
that's the only way I could see people's movie like working out like the way we have had envisioned it like for years, right? So we have been planning for years, and we were trying to like find a way to for me not to take. I was trying to find a way for me not to take that position, but eventually you realize that you know what that's the only way that's gonna happen. And in the meantime, like we lost a lot of time not like resisting that like the reality of things, right? Like
right.
so I think it's like a similar thing to what happens in Brazil.
Yeah, that's the sacrifice, and even in like as a necessity of me wanting to become an actor and doing it at the highest level because that's what it's about for me. It's not a money thing. I mean, I know money comes with where my ultimate goal is, but it's being able to do my art at the highest level is what my desire is. Because I'm doing I'm doing the same things I did 10 years ago. I'm just doing it at my higher level. I was writing, I was producing, I was doing my own things, I was writing my own stuff, like, and and that's just the timeline of my first project that I ever directed, wrote, produced, and starred in, and that was maybe 10, I think 10 years, 10, 12 years ago. And this is equipment that I borrowed from friends, pieced it up and shot it, and that was the beginning of this whole sort of taking my own initiative towards in my career and building this business. And through the years, I've just gotten better. I'm excited for 2, 3 years. I'm still learning. Like I'm excited, man. I got all this stuff happening now, man. I'm just eager to for the future as I continue to grow. Let's see. I mean, you can find me at Maldonado is everywhere. .com and on Instagram at Maldonado is everywhere. But currently, I'm starring on two shows. One called Heels on Stars. I play a character named Rooster. Another one called Wonder Years on ABC. I play a character named Coach Long or Cliff Long on there. I'm in the new Tomb Raider cartoon that's coming out on Netflix. I have a Nickelodeon cartoon that I'm starring in. My movie House Party comes out December, I think December 9th on HBO and in theaters. And then on the writing side, I just sold the show to Fox. I can't really disclose all the details. And I got another project I'm working with 50 Cent. Like I'm working with a lot of cool people, man. Like it's the big the big name production. Like I said, I don't want to just keep dropping the names, but it's like some really big people that I've just been fortunate, but not just fortunate, but also strategically position myself to be in front of these people, so they know who I am. Going back to how I began marketing myself to, you know, these particular uh, section of this business, just because I knew that's where I would cultivate some of the relationships that would translate into the stuff that I'm doing now.
And how did you go about finding these people? Like, I like how can
So this is the biggest thing, man. Work gets you more work. That's always what I say. So like I started working for nothing. I did do that. I worked for free, and it's from there it progressed. Work gets you more work. You know, if you're good, That's where that 10% matters. like, don't think don't think that 10% doesn't matter. No, the 10% matters because that's the whole thing of it took forever for someone to try something, and then when you sip it, if you don't want it no more, you'll never try it again. But if you like it, you'll be back. So that has always been my approach. So whenever I did a project, I would supersede anyone's expectation, and that is how I built my career in this business, brick by brick. Didn't skip a step. Didn't skip a step. I wanted to, but I hit every step. But it's taught me how to get there. I've literally walked every step of my journey. So no matter how lost I may get in the future, I'll always be able to find my way. And that's the benefit where I've seen in some of the people that I've seen this business that haven't survived the 20 years that I've survived. As I say, survive, yes. Business stuff, you got to survive it, But yeah, it was. Well, I can't remember. What was the question again? Yes, 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 yes. And that's what I was leading up to. This is a show me business. This is again just like don't think of acting, don't think of direct, don't think of that as starting a career because you're not starting a career. Usually, when you get a career, you get a check after 2 weeks, you know. But when you start a small business, you already go in knowing you have to invest and you're going to be in the red for years, until it slowly becomes a profit. And that's what this is. You're building a business. You're not building a career. You're building a business. So you're going to have to invest. You're going to have to do stuff for free. You're going to have to be in places in front of people doing whatever you need to do just to be in front of them. Like that is a part of the struggle and the steps of my journey that now I'm my foundation and how I stand in this business is built off of pure work. My foundation is strong. Like I've just given you great work all the way through. And I've been just trying to be its best business. Like all of these things are a factor. So you begin to uh, get a history. You start beginning to build a reputation, and that's how it happens. It's not like it's not gonna be one person you meet that's gonna change your life. No, it's gonna be a combination of these people, and then when your life change, watch how many of these people's pop back up, and be a part of what you're doing and help and just be a contribution, you know. And this is what it's been for my career. Like again, I've seen all of these people at different levels, and everybody has that knows me from the beginning of my career to now have seen how hard I've worked to build this thing. So when opportunities come, they'll reach out to me. Wonder Years, I didn't have to audition for that role. The showrunner, I worked with him on another show, The Last OG, in which I was also a writer for, and he called me personally. Like that's a you build to that. That's not a instantaneous one thing. Like this person saw me was like, oh, this guy got the goods. Like no, I showed a reputation of showing up every day at work, being prepared, superseding everyone's expectation, and then you start getting these phone calls. But you can't miss that step of doing the work, and that's what people think is that oh, I want to meet some people. No, work and you'll meet people. like so like that's how it works. Don't work on meeting people. Work and you'll meet people. Like that's so. Go intern. Go do whatever you gotta do. That's the sacrifice. That's the sacrifice that I talk about.
That's
It's,
good advice. And on a personal note, I know that Wonder Years is a big favorite for everyone around here. Like,
well, yeah, no, Wonder Years is a fantastic show. Saladin Patterson is the creator. Good friend of mine. Like I said, he was the showrunner for the last OG that I did prior to joining the Wonder Years. Then there's Dule Hill, the Saquon. Then there's EJ. That's the lead. That's the lead of the show. He's incredible. Beyond his years, just mature, has a great understanding of the art, and shout out to his dad Lefty, um, who has instilled him a work ethic that is athletic, like, because he plays basketball, so he applies that same type of work ethic to his acting, and he's just a phenomenal kid. I'm eager to see him grow into a man similar to the kids that I worked on the show Blackish. I watched them grow up, and now they're in their 20s and have their own production companies, and I'm like, it's just beautiful to watch that. So I'm excited to see EJ grow up. Again, working with Dule, who has a long history in this business and has been working for a long time and has a great resume of shows, and is extremely talented as a tap dancer. Uh, um, Dulay's the man, and then you got Saquon, who's just this beautiful spirit, incredibly talented. She was on Broadway, like her voice is angelic. Like, it's just so that show is just so much fun working on, and that's and I won't disclose on which shows wasn't, but all shows aren't like that. like all shows aren't such a happy place and everybody get along. And I've been in this business 20 years, so I've seen a lot of wild stuff. So I can honestly say that set Wonder Years is extremely loving, and I'm excited to see it continue.
Have you found that working with like kids, does it require like a different skill set than working with grown-ups acting opposite them, or the same thing, or is it the same thing?
It is, because there's levels to this. I know some adults that can't act. You know what I mean? Like, so I'll have the same issues like that. The them if it's just if you can act, you act. You coming in? I treat acting like a sport. I'm again. This Mamba mentality in regards to acting is how I approach it. So I'm a skill for skill guy. Like, I'm watching, seeing what your weaknesses, your strengths are, like, because that's how I assess myself and my ability. So when a person is good, it's easy. It's a good time, and you don't have to worry. You don't have to worry about nothing but just doing what your job is and showing up to perform, because you gonna know they gonna bring it. Like, they gonna bring, because that's what they love and care. Now, when you deal with people that don't have that type of pursuit and or the ability, it could be tough. But I wouldn't just pin that this on kids.
Well, Octavio, do you have anything you want to ask Alan? I think we're gonna start winding down here and let Alan go.
No, I had the same question as Philip said about the Wonder Years. I would like maybe a little bit more about how it was for you to get in. You said being a black man and for minorities, how it is in the your the struggle for a person like you to get in the business and meeting all those people and you know getting those shows. How is for you to um, you know you are in Blackish and the Wonder Years gets black people. Tell us about how's the general how you see the business for a person like you.
Okay, well, I mean, it seems like you had a lot of questions in that, so I'll answer. I'll try to answer it as best as possible. Just how I've navigated in this business, being black and Puerto Rican, is um, I've ignored what people say are. I've ignored the statistics. I don't care. I don't care about the statistics. The statistics. I don't care about them. I just know what I want. I know the goals that I'm going to achieve. I don't care if nobody's black and Puerto Rican has ever did it, or if there's only one person, or if there's only two. I don't care. I've never let that be deterrent or a thought in my head, and I've often see people psych themselves out thinking about stuff like that. So often I've often getting questions like, as far as my roles and different things and being black and being black and Puerto Rican, Afro Latino, all of these things. I just never acknowledged it. I was like, yeah, no, whatever. I don't care what you say. I don't care what you accept. I don't care what you think is it or not. I'm going to be that talented that you're going to have to work with me. I'm going to be that hard of a worker that you're not working with me because I'm black and Puerto Rican. You're working with me because I'm fucking good. And that's sorry to curse. Sorry to curse. but that has always been my pursuit. So I've only focused on winning. And that's what I urge to anyone that is dealing with that. Forget about it. Stop thinking about that. Think of and focus on the goal of what you want, and it happen. Don't let that psych you out, because I've seen so many people be, well, they not casting Latinos and they're not casting blacks, and I'm like, I don't care who they casting. They casting me. I don't care who they looking for. I'm what they need. I'm what they looking for. They don't know. It's cool. I'm gonna go in there and show them, and that's always been my approach, and how I've never really acknowledged it nor felt it.
All right. I think that's such a great note on for us to wind down this. But um, I'd just like to thank you so much, Alan, for your time and for taking the time to impart some of your energy onto us, because like I feel energized. Like I want to go out and work right now. Like I just want to like write something or direct something, because like your energy is so like it's so infectious. Like it's so good to see someone with that work ethic, getting his due and working so much and working like on such great projects. It's really inspiring, and I'd just like to thank you for your time and talking to us and giving us some needed insight into like what do we need to do to like like in Hollywood, in contrast to what it would be in Brazil, man.
No, thank you guys. Thank you for the time, man. I appreciate you.
Yeah. So so careful.
I just like to thank you, Alan. It's very inspiring, and see you soon.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah.
Yeah, if you come down to Brazil, please talk to us, and we'll.
I plan to go next year, so I'll see you guys soon. I'm planning to go. I'm coming to Brazil. Don't threaten me with a good time.
Consider yourself threatened, man.
I want it all, man. Appreciate it, man. I'm coming.
All right, thank you so much, Alan.
All right, y'all have a good one.